Hello viewers. Today I have come up with a very new concept and it is based on statements. Under this standard, we will be dealing with all the responsibilities and obligations which an auditor has to fulfill when conducting an audit of an entity and when coming across the risks of material misstatements, be it arising due to fraud or error. So, before discharging his attest function, an auditor is required to ascertain and ensure that financial statement that he has already audited through or audited is free from material misstatements, be it arising due to fraud or error. But the auditor has to be skeptical and exercise due diligence if he comes across any matters that cast significant doubts on commitment of frauds by any employees or officers of the entity. So this is something which the auditor is responsible for. So let us first understand the definition of fraud. Fraud simply means it is a conspiracy or it involves a carefully designed scheme by the management or certain employees of the entity so as to conceal certain significant or crucial information and in order to take advantage of the situation either by misappropriation of the assets, destruction of certain assets, or by manipulation of books of accounts. Hello viewers, today we are going to discuss about Essay 240, which deals with an auditor's responsibilities relating to fraud in an audit of financial statements. So I'm going to be explaining each and every concept in very detail. So let's get started without wasting any time. So let's first understand what does fraud mean. Fraud simply means an intentional act by any person within the entity, while an error represents an unintentional act resulting into misstatements of the financial statements. Right? So suppose the auditor goes to conduct audit of an entity, or an auditor is appointed to conduct audit of an entity as per the terms and conditions of audit engagement letter. So before from the right from the audit planning stage, the auditor has to consider the materiality level, that is the risks of material misstatements, be it arising due to fraud or error that might be involved in the financial statements of an entity. So there are various procedures which are performed by an auditor so as to determine and ascertain the extent up to which misstatements might be present in the financial statements. So let me first explain you through some of the symbols which I am going to be using. The auditor first approaches the entity, and after approaching the entity, the auditor drafts an audit plan. So as per the audit plan, the auditor drafts an audit plan. The audit plan contains all the details, plan of actions which the auditor has to consider, and which according to which the auditor has to proceed and perform his audit procedures. Audit plan also contains the nature, timing, and extent of audit procedures to be performed by the auditor. Right. So this is suppose the audit plan. Here this represents the audit plan, and here let's just wait for a second. Suppose the auditor first approaches the entity, and the entity here the entity decides the nature, timing, extent, and scope of functioning of the internal auditor. Now, moving on to the next part, which we're gonna be dealing with, that is Essay 240, dealing with auditor's responsibilities. Right. So first, let's understand what is fraud. Fraud is an intentional misstatement of information by employees, or you may see that we may say, wait for a second. Yes. So we are dealing with essay 240, that is the auditor's responsibilities relating to fraud in audit of financial statements. So I have already explained the concept of audit planning. That is when the auditor approaches an entity, and when an auditor is hired or appointed by an entity to conduct audit of its financial statements, then before conducting any such audit, the auditor first obtains knowledge and understanding of the entity and its related involvement, and accordingly, the auditor formulates an audit plan. So audit plan is nothing but it is a detailed plan of action which is formulated by an auditor and which provides a clear and deep insight relating to the nature, timing and extent of audit procedures to be performed. Audit procedures to be performed. Then we have the materiality level, or the level of materiality to be considered by an auditor. That is the extent up to which significant transactions which have material impact on the financial statements need to be considered. Here, the auditor also decides at the audit planning stage. The auditor also decides the extent of compliance and substantive audit procedures to be performed, where the compliance procedure means the test of internal controls, that is checking the compliance procedure actually involves evaluating and assessing the existence, continuity, operating efficiency and effectiveness of the internal control systems of an entity, right? So let's move on to the next sheet because this sheet is already filled up. Okay. So here I'm going to be choosing the drawing part again, which will allow me further. Yes. So let's get started. Wait for a second. So now let's get started again. Have already explained the concept of fraud, errors, audit planning stage. Now we will be discussing about some examples of fraud. Fraud may involve misappropriation of assets or fraudulent financial reporting. Misappropriation of assets means theft of assets, whereas fraudulent financial reporting means intentional omission of amounts or disclosures appearing in the summary of notes to accounts and other explanatory information in the financial statements. Right. So the regions for this essay. Why this essay has been formulated and made applicable throughout the country. Firstly, it's the auditor's responsibilities relating to fraud in an audit of financial statement. Second, deals with essay 315 and essay 330, which are to be applied simultaneously by the auditor in relation to the risks of material misstatements, be it arising due to fraud or error. Now, the objective of this essay is to identify and assess the risks of material misstatements due to fraud, that is essay 350, and obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence about assessed risks, right, which are dealt by essay 500 and essay 599. 500 is audit evidence and essay 599 is responsibilities of joint auditors. Third is objective is to respond appropriately to the assessed and identified risks of material misstatements involved in the financial statements. Right? So the primary responsibility relating to prevention, detection, and correction of misstatements arising due to fraud and error is that of management. However, it is also auditor's responsibility to obtain reasonable assurance that the financial statements are free from any material misstatements. Right? Now let's understand what are the procedures and what are the areas which the auditor needs to cover when conducting audit of an entity. Firstly, it's the auditor's responsibility to maintain professional skepticism and exercise professional judgment during the audit. That is, in case where the auditor comes across any information on any matters which cast significant doubt on commitment of fraud or error, then he should not be negligent. He should not show any negligence on his part, and he should take strict and immediate actions so as to resolve the issues at the earliest. Secondly, in case as per the Companies Act 2013, in case during the conduct of audit, if the auditor comes across any information which casts significant doubt on the commission of fraud, or if it casts significant doubt that certain frauds have already been committed by the management or are being committed by certain employees or officers of the entity, then it is his responsibility to intimate the same to the higher level authorities, that is the governing authorities, be it board of directors or top level management. And it is also his responsibility to make sure that he intimates the matter relating to fraud to central government or the governing authority, and along with the necessary justification of such frauds. Right. So auditor's responsibility first is to maintain professional skepticism during the audit. Second is to discuss those matters relating to fraud with the members of audit engagement team. Right. Besides all these, the auditor is also responsible to perform extended audit procedures to resolve the issues, which include the risk assessment procedures which are dealt by SA 315, responses to the assessed risk SA 330, evaluation of evidences obtained, communication to TCWG which is dealt by SA 260, and audit documentation. Right. So I don't feel like I have left any area untouched, which I should have covered. This is the end of my session.